Hello and welcome to another episode of Battlecry, and welcome to Call to Arms, and thank you for answering the call. We've got another AOS themed Battlecry for you tonight. We are going through the Sons of Behemat, their brand new Battletome, and I'm joined once again by my co-host Mr. Nathan Watson. Hello Nathan.
Hello.
How are we doing this evening?
Aye, it's no bad.
No bad, perfect, good. You ready to talk about some big old naked babies?
Some big old chunky men.
Big old chunky men, exactly. Yeah, very very excited to talk this through. Sons, I would say, have been quite a polarising faction in AOS for some time. And it will be, it's just exciting to see them getting new stuff, see how they've changed, and yeah, basically just kind of have a wee chat about what we think could be some strong things from the book, maybe some strong combos. We've got a wee list at the end to discuss as well, so yeah, all that good stuff. So before we get started, folks, first of all, just want to say if you could please like and subscribe, and yeah, comment down below as well. We've got a few folk in live chat already. Got Sinky with his patented monkey emoji. Thanks for that, Sinky. And yeah, so any questions at all, any comments, any issues or things that you think we've missed as well, please let us know. Okay, so without further ado, ready just to get straight into this, Nathan?
Aye, why not?
Let's do this. Okay, so dun dun dun, Sons of Behemat. Okay, so I've had a good kind of read over the book. We've been having wee chats back and forth. Unfortunately, the absolute legends that are able to take screenshots of the YouTube videos and make it into a PDF, I've not seen one kicking about for Sons yet. So yeah, this has literally just been off of a physical tome, which I managed to snatch off of Mr. Scott Smith yesterday when he was over for his battle report. So thank you very much. Yeah, exactly. I play for keeps. So thanks, man. So yeah, it was really beneficial to have that, and we do. Yeah, I've got that just to prove I've still got it, Scott. Keeping it safe, mate. Don't worry. And it also means that we can check that for any rules references or whatever and stuff like that as well. But yeah, it was really good. We read. There's been quite a few changes to the book, to the faction as a whole, which is good to see. Change can be good, I think, for these guys. And yeah, I've been quite happy with a few of the war scrolls and also some little combos that I've noticed as well, which is nice, which is good to see. What's your kind of initial thoughts, Nathan? Do we think this is going to propel Sons to whole new heights? Is this going to make them a bit more balanced overall? Do you think it's going to be any change at all?
I think that it's going to feel a bit different playing against them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's going to feel a whole lot different playing with them. I think that we might see more people move away from the 4 mega build.
Mm-hmm.
They'll maybe start trying the smaller lads. But other than that, I think that the book still, like the army fantasy, if you will, or the way that armies tend to be played out of Sons of Behemat, I don't think it's going to change all that much.
So their kind of on table identity isn't really going to. Yeah, it's not going to change. Yeah, which I could definitely see. They've still got their rules that allowed them to be counting as lots of models and objectives, and I think that was something that was a real issue in their last book, because they could be very non-interactive with their opponents, and as we always say, it was that ticking clock. What's the three-letter acronym for how many?
The NPE.
Well, no, yes, that does, but yes, the DPS is it? What's that's the damage
DPT, damage per turn.
Damage per turn. Yeah, that's good. We can make our own one. So yeah.
DQ, the drop, or DGQ, drop Gargant Quotient.
Drop Gargant Quotient. Well, this is, as a teacher.
You had to kill one a turn, didn't you?
You did. Yeah,
you had to get rid of one every single turn.
Absolutely. It was that ticking clock of, can you kill a Gargant a turn? Can you make that a reality? So yeah, absolutely. One point I was just going to say there was, as a teacher, we have to deal with TLAs, 3-letter acronyms, all the time. So it's great to be just making more and more. It's now pushing out pin numbers from my brain. Thanks for that, Nathan. So
And we can just
cheers.
talk and it'll be great.
Lol. So, so we are going to dive right in. That's our kind of initial thoughts. We think that maybe won't change much how you play them, possibly, but I think to play against, yeah, could see some changes. So let's go into it. So we've got our allegiance abilities first and foremost. They have kept on hold to mightier makes rightier. Okay, so megas now have a value on their damage table. So it's quite interesting now. So it used to just be like a flat number, and no matter how many wounds that they took, they just remained that flat number on objectives. Now, however, it degrades.
Yep.
The max you can get, so it's kind of like Kragnos' Scroll. So Kragnos' Scroll came out, he's got this degraded mightier makes rightier. We then thought, oh, is that just going to transfer onto all megas and gargants? And it did. So there we go. So the best you can get is Mr. Kragnos himself. He starts at 30, and the minimum you can go down to in terms of like if you're fully degraded for any type of gargant is 12. Okay, and man crushers count as flat 10, and I don't believe that theirs actually degrades either. So what do we think about this as a change, Nathan?
So on paper, it looks really good. It gives you something to strive for. But I think that the only when you really get into the meat of it, you still need to do a lot of damage to a gargant to get them to 12.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like they don't degrade that fast. And often they're on an objective. They do a fair amount of damage, and you're probably going to be losing models if you're going toe to toe with a mega, trying to take an objective off of them.
Yeah.
What it does do is that I think that there's going to be slightly less feel bads moments when you do go in and try to get the gargant down, and maybe they've only got a couple of points of like wounds left on them.
Yeah.
They now count as 12, and you've maybe got like you can maybe protect against not killing the gargant by having enough models on the objective to take it off, especially in the world of like expert conquerors and armies. Absolutely. Like Stormcast Eternal's been able to count as 3 even outside of expert conquerors. So if we're thinking ahead to future GHPs and stuff, so yeah, like I think that you're definitely able to protect against failing to kill that one gargant a turn, which is why I think it's going to feel a little bit different to play against them. It might not feel as bad to play against them, because it was awful when you went in. You're like, right, I need to kill this gargant so that I can get my hold 1, hold 2, hold more. It's going to be my battle tactic as well, and then they're still alive on a couple of wins, and you're like, right, okay, I've done nothing. This whole turn I've scored nothing.
Correct, exactly. Yeah, it was a huge feels bad, but no, you're absolutely right. I think this it gives you way more play, as you say, where you don't necessarily have to wipe the gargant, but if you can math out, well, if I can do this much damage, and I think I can, I then just need to have like maybe another unit to just sit maybe behind that unit's charged down. Exactly. And as you say, in the world of expert conquerors, just a wee rubbishy unit of 10 chaff models can be worth 30 on an objective anyway. So if you can degrade even that gargant 1 level with another unit, you can get it. But yeah, it is also worthwhile to look into the future, because we're not going to have expert conquerors forever. I don't think we are. The battalions are going to change. Yeah, exactly. So no, I think definitely, for opponents of gargants, a very welcome addition. I think maybe for I think for gargants players, they might be a wee bit kind of sad with this, but I just think it's fair. I think it's a fair
Destruction bros at the end of the day. Destruction bros, there's enough little like shiny tricks in the book to distract them. Well, I suppose
this may now. So I think the thing that was always brought up with gargants was they don't play as kind of what we think that their identity should be. They're massive big giants that are supposed to stomp about and kill things and smash things, but they were actually retreating away from combat, because that means they don't die as quickly, and they're still taking your objectives away from you. Now we might see maybe a bit more aggro, because now that you might have to take off units before they then degrade you and then start taking objectives off of you.
Yep.
So, which is, I think, is a welcome sight, definitely. So yeah, perfect. So that's their updated Mightier makes Rightier. We've got another Allegiance ability. We've got Lords and Masters. You have to pick a tribe, so it's the same as kind of the last book. You pick a tribe that your Mega Gargants or your Gargants come from. You've got Taker, Breaker, a new tribe, Smasher, which is nice. So they've got some new kit now as well, and Stomper. Your general must be the specific type of Mega Gargant from each of those tribes. So for example, Kraken Eater has to be the general in a Taker tribe. Gatebreakers and Breaker. Your new Beast Smasher and Smasher tribe, and the War Stomper and Stomper. So nothing really new there, okay? But brand new, they have new Monstrous Rampages. Okay, they've got 3 to choose from, and then they also have access to the base Monstrous Rampages as well. So yeah, let's go through these. So the 3 we've got is Beast Grapple, which is 3. So you have to roll a dice. On a 3-up, you give an enemy monster within 3 inches, and the Gargant who's actually doing it, you give them both fight last. So this kind of in itself is kind of like, oh, okay, so you make them fight last, but you also fight last. So if it's your turn, could be good, because you're still going to get to swing before your opponent, because your activation will take precedence. If it's your opponent's turn, not really much use, because you're both strike last, but then he'll still hit you first anyway. I think where this is going to obviously be key is if you've got 2 units going into the one thing, into the one monster, and you can do that grapple, and then the other unit who's not doing the beast grapple then gets to swing first, then you can also swing with your guy if it's your activation, if it's your turn as well. So I think this could be pretty clutch, because a lot of these guys, so your Gargants and especially your babies, they do not want to be getting hits first before they get a chance to swing, because they're a wee bit kind of glass hammery, aren't they?
Yep. It's basically a hod it and dod it, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, I like that. Why didn't they call it that? Mate, you should be working for GW.
I could name anything in the destruction books. I mean, that'll be vernacular.
You've got the vocab down for it, absolutely. So no, ideal. So yeah, I think this is quite good. Again, it's the same as like a roll, isn't it? It's a 3-up. If you roll a 3-up, it's gravy. If you don't, it's meh. But yeah, so I think it's still a very worthwhile, especially if you're going into the monsters. Very, very good. Then the second one, we've got Earth Shaking Roar. So again, this is also 3 inches, so you pick a unit within 3 inches. You roll 2d6 against the enemy unit's bravery. Now the unit you pick must be made of 1 or 2 wound models. And basically the number on the 2d6 that you roll above their bravery, that many models flee. Okay? So what's your thoughts on this?
I quite like it.
Yeah?
I don't know if there's any ways to make to start affecting the bravery characteristic in the book, but I think it's quite cool.
Yeah.
Like, I think we're in a world where there is a fair amount of elite infantry that are hovering round about that sort of 6, 7, 8 bravery point. And if you can just like roll it, well, I suppose you can only really use it on 1 or 2 wound models, right? So it's
correct.
At best going to be 6 or 7.
Yeah. Now
it's all right.
Yeah, I initially was like, oh, so like, because I was then checking what's the bravery on like Storm Fiends, what's the bravery on things like that, where you're like, oh god, you get 1 or 2 of them to run, that's money. But yeah, it has to be 1 or 2 wound models, and I have heard this argument being brought up, and it's like, why would you do that versus a stomp? Because
models.
Because you're effectively so most units, I mean, if you look across all the units, you're talking probably bravery 6 or 7, which means you need to roll above average in order to get 1 or 2 things to flee. Whereas if you just roll a 2-up stomp, then you're going to get 2 on average to go as well. But I mean, it could work in tandem, so you could do stomp with one thing and then earth shake and roar with another thing, and just, you know, get a few models. Yeah, get a few models to flee. I mean, let's face it, if you're charging into single wound or double wound models and you've got no other monstrous rampages to do, then I think it could be all right. But I'm not blown away by it. Let's put it that way.
Nice to have.
Yeah,
like one way to look at it is we're approaching Slaves of Darkness, right? Mm-hmm. So we're going to be we're 100% going to be in a world where there's going to be loads of 3+ save Chaos Warriors with Bravery 7 kicking about.
Yeah.
You're not killing them in combat.
Yeah,
Don't care if you've got your Ren 2, your Ren 3 or whatever. Like, that's one way to get a couple of them to shift.
That's true. No, absolutely.
Then you can try and stuff some in your bag if you've got that right type of Gargant. Like,
exactly. Yep. And you've still got the impact hits on the charge doing mortals as well. So yeah, I think there's any little helps basically. Every little helps. Yeah. No, 100%. Liam T has asked in the chat. He's saying, can the wee boys do the grapple for the big boys? Now, unfortunately, it's only Mega Gargants that have got access to these new Wrath of Titans, as they call it. These new Monstrous Rampages. The wee boys can still do the base book Monstrous Rampages, but not these ones. So your big boys could beast grapple for your little boys. Certainly.
I think you want that.
Which is, I think
the little boys to be smacking, because they've got the pump, don't they? Like, they've got the damage.
When we're going to look over, we're going to go through the units. We will quickly see that it's the wee boys that are the main damage dealers, or the more consistent damage dealers, shall we say? So yeah, I think that's definitely the combo that you want. And then last but not least, we've got the Colossal Slam. I've heard this mentioned a few times, Nathan.
Suplex.
So you pick an enemy monster within half an inch. So you have to be within half an inch, which you should be in if you're in combat, right? And then on a 3-up, so again it's a dice roll. On a 3-up, you remove the monster from the battlefield, and you put it back within half an inch of the Gargant. The monster suffers D3 mortals, and the Gargant suffers -1 to hit in that combat phase. So, just kind of off of that, you're like, okay, maybe not doing much. You just do D3 mortals, and you've picked up the monster you're in combat with, put him back down in combat with you, and you're like, and now I'm -1 to hit. So you're like, oh god, like that's all kind of sounds quite negative. But then when you think about the nuance on the table, so you've got a monster. That monster's on an objective. Now it's not. You know, it's just
2 Gargants that want to charge Archaon. One of them failed. One of them made it. Suplex him over. Get the other Gargant to hold them tight while you smack him.
Exactly. And then someone else can do the beast grapple to make him fight last. Then everybody else swings, and then it's So this is really, really cool. But again, it's one of these things where if you're going into monsters, awesome. If you're not, it's kind of maybe I feels as bad for the Gargant player because they're not going to be able to do these kind of fun things. But as we say, like there's so many shenanigans I think you could do with this.
It's terrifying for me. I'm in a world where I'm playing Bloodthirsters and stuff, and like I charge a Scarbrand in, and they're like, yoink. Right into the other Gargants. Like,
yes.
Get some trading.
But then Scarbrand just pops off and kills everything, right?
But then somebody grapples him and makes him fight last.
There you go. Yeah.
That's it.
Then that's you. But I really like that, and it's so Garganty. It's just like I really like it. It's good that they've managed to put certain rules in, and it just feels like it should be kind of part of the book, which is awesome. So that's all of our just kind of basic allegiance abilities. Now with the tribes, because we've still got the 4, we've got 4 tribes now. Used to be 3, now it's 4. They also have like their own page, if you will, of abilities, command traits, artifacts, which we'll go through as well. But just off the bat, that's just the kind of main ones. So I think pretty cool.
I like it.
Yeah, cool. So let's move on. We're now going to talk about just the stock command traits and artifacts. So we get, there are 3 command traits to choose from, and there are 4 artifacts. Only 3 have made my list. There was one where I was just like, meh. So we're going to have a wee discussion of these. Before we do that, Sinke, he's saying, sorry troops, great wee start. But it's bedtime. Baba child sleeps. I sleep. Look forward to watching back. Oh, clearly he's been worn out by the Halloween festivities.
Too much candy.
Too much candy. Oh yeah, we forgot to say Happy Halloween, everyone. Yeah, I did wonder, like, should I dress up for this stream? And then I was just like, no, but I need to give the people what they want, which is the Udi meta.
Udi.
So the Udi stays on. But yeah, so command traits. So we've got our old pal comes back, monstrously tough, +5 wounds on your general, just good. Just a really good all-rounder to have. We've got Furious Temper. Once per battle, the general can fight at top profile, which I thought was quite cool. I think it's always good to be able to swing at your full power, and that this kind of allows you to do that. The once per battle thing obviously is, it kind of depends how strong the ability is to how, you know, how good or bad that is. There's some once per battle abilities that are atrocious, some once per battle abilities that are auto includes that you want to take. But yeah, I thought it was kind of cute. And then the last one for the command traits, we've got Rabble Rouser, +1 to charge for friendly Sons of Behemat units wholly within 18. And I really like that because any pluses to charge is good, but the bubble is huge. I thought the bubble's great.
Bubble.
Yeah, and it's great because obviously these are big boys and they've got big bases, so you want, and they're going to be moving up quite fast, so you want to be keeping them within that bubble. So that's the 3. They all made the list. I think the one, if you were going to put gun to my head, I would probably get rid of Furious Temper, and then I'd probably look at either Monstrously Stuff or Rabble Rouser. What are your thoughts on those, Nathan?
Very much what you've said.
Yeah.
It would be +5 wins, then Rabble Rouser, then Furious Temper for me.
Yep. That makes sense, yeah. Then for the artifacts, we have 3. So we've got Glowy Shield of Protectiness. So this changes any attack into the general of, or into any Gargant. -1 rend, it goes to dash, so it's kind of like your Metrica ability from Lumineth. And in addition, any 6s, so unmodified natural 6s to save on that Gargant cause a mortal wound back to the attacking unit. So that was pretty cool. That's not bad at all. So there's quite a bit of Ren 1 in the game. So to be able to mitigate that is good. And then also the little kicker of you could have a lot of attacks coming into a Gargant. I mean, there's going to have to be to try and kill it. So you could have potentially buckets of 6s going back into these units doing some mortal wounds back. So I quite like that one. Yeah, no, absolutely. Then we've got Scavenger Wake, once per battle, so another once per battle ability. You pick a unit within 3 inches and you roll dice equal to the number of models in the unit, and for every 4 up, it causes a mortal wound. So I just thought, I was like, oof, that's quite a nice wee, horde clearer, as we say. You know, you've got your horde ticklers with your 6s do mortals. You've got your horde thinners with the 5s. This is a clearer, I think. 4 ups. When do you do it? So it triggers start of the combat phase.
Sorry.
Not bad. So
you're about to take a charge off a block of blade geists or something like that.
Yeah, this is terrifying for me. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, I thought it was quite nice and can give you a wee bit of that kind of horde clearer tech in there. And then the last one, which is my personal favourite, the Amberbone Totem, which is run and charge. So you can give a mega big old boy run and charge, which I think is awesome. Yeah, really like that. We were having a wee chat before we went live, and we were just kind of discussing, is there a ways to give run and charge to the mega? So this is the only way that I can find in this book to give a mega Gargant run and charge. You can, I think anyway, we'll probably come up to like slide 5 and it's like, oh, there it is again. But I think this is the only way. Now your babies still get natively the run and charge if they're still within range of a mega. But yeah, this is really good because your megas, they move 10 now, all of them move 10, and then obviously you can auto run for 16, then the charge, so threat range of 28 inches is nothing to sniff at for the old megas, so I like that. So yeah, thoughts on the artifacts?
Really good so far.
Yeah, I think they're
this
really
is
good.
The thing to check, so we're about to move on to Taker Tribe.
Yeah.
Are you forced into taking the command traits and the artifacts from
You are not forced. No. So from what I can see, so it's very much like new 3rd edition books. You're not, pressed into having to take the things from the sub-factions. You can choose. So if you see something you really like in one of your sub-factions, by all means you can take it, or you can come... back to
some
these.
factions don't have command traits anymore.
Yeah, no, that's very true.
Do you know what I mean? So it was just the fact that the Taker tribe has command traits and artifacts. I was like,
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
that's new.
Yeah, I'd say the only thing that is any sort of forcing is that your artifacts have to be taken on the specific type of Mega Gargant for
That's
that tribe. Yeah, so it's like, so your Taker tribe, if you take a Taker tribe artifact, has to go on a Kraken Eater, and so on and so forth. But you need to have one of them in anyway if you're for your general. So yeah. But yeah, so okay with that. Ready to move on?
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it. So yeah, let's just go straight into the 4 different types of tribe. So we've got Taker, Breaker, Stomper, Smasher. Okay, and yeah, as we kind of said at the start, we've got your allegiance abilities. So additional allegiance abilities within the individual tribes. You've also got choices of command traits and artifacts. So you've got 2 command traits, 2 artifacts, and usually 2 or 3 little additions for your allegiance abilities. So yeah, pretty cool. Just more choice.
Yeah.
What's that? Sorry.
Sorry, I just tuned out a second while I noticed a wee nerf to Taker. It's only +5.
Yes. So yeah, we've seen a wee bit of a change now. That means that because your Kraken Eaters, your Gatebreakers, your War Stompers, their best mightier makes mightier total is 20 models and objectives. So this can get them up to 25. But yes, you're right. That's a nerf from our last book because they could get up to 30, couldn't they?
So only for Kraken Eaters though. So it's not for all of your megas anymore.
Correct.
So
yeah,
and then it used to be 30 instead of 20. So now it's a bit of a nerf to it.
It's definitely something to take into account. I know that people were taking Taker tribes potentially because it was good into the Gargant Mirror, because you could outmuscle them in objectives. But then there was also the caveat, it's like, well, if somebody goes Breaker, they're probably going to kill you anyway, because just they were the damage output, Gargant tribe as well. So no, I think, good point. They have taken a wee bit of a nerf here. But let's go through what they've got now. So their allegiance abilities, they've got one called Get Rid of 'em. So that was the thing we just spoken about there. So Man Crushers count as 15, Kraken Eaters get +5, and the Mightier Mixed Righter, so it could take them up to a max of 25 when they're fully healthy. Then they've got another one, I Want That For Me Collection, which is a command ability. Now you'll notice there's a kind of a running theme. For every tribe, there's a specific command ability that has to be issued by the general and also has to be received by Man Crusher unit. Okay, so this is the Taker tribe one of that. So it's +1 damage versus a unit with an artifact or is unique.
Yep.
So +1 damage is nice, obviously. Could get your babies up to damage 3 on the clubs. The caveat of only into a unit with an artifact or only into a unit that's unique is, I would say, a wee bit kind of niche.
There's unique units everywhere at the moment though.
Okay, so give me some examples of some unique units that we're seeing a lot of play.
Well, up here you're seeing Archeon fairly regularly.
Okay, yeah.
You're seeing Croak, Scarbrand. I think like what ones are quite common. I've been playing fairly weird armies, so like Sigvald.
So all your big named heroes. I will just say that was a bit of a troll there, Nathan, with the old Gotrek thing. We all know the damage 3 goes to damage 1, so don't try that. But yeah, so the
but then artifacts as well. Like I'm sipping up things like Bloodthirsters with artifacts, and
it's cool. I definitely see a place for there. If you're going Taker and you want to spend this command ability, this is definitely going to be into big monsters, big non-unique monsters with artifacts.
Yep.
And then obviously your big unique monsters. So things like, or maybe not monsters, but just like Teclis, Croak, Archeon, things like that, which does mean that it's in an opponent's list there's maybe only one unit or 1 or 2 units that this is actually going to be effective against. It's not a catch-all. You can't just get +1 damage into anything, which is why I'm not too hot on it, but I think it could definitely see some use.
You don't even need to use it.
Yeah, true, exactly. You don't have to use it.
It's not like it's something you have to take in your army, sort of
exactly.
thing. Because,
it's something that's there. You can call upon it. We've got some more suggestions. Yes, Liam T's saying Kragnos. Absolutely, yeah. And Manfred or Nefe, things like that. Yeah. So no, you're right. There are lots. I'm just very turned off by the very specific nature of it. I don't like that. But yeah, so moving on, command traits. We've got very acquisitive. The general can get 2 artifacts. That's quite cool. That's kind of cute. Obviously can't get 2 of the same, but they can take you. So for example, if you're Kraken Eater, they can take one of the Kraken Eater artifacts. They could take both Kraken Eater artifacts, or they could take one of them and one of the generals, or 2 general artifacts. There's loads of combinations. Maybe you could tool up a Kraken Eater with this.
Do they both have to be Sons of Behemat artifacts?
Let's have a look. See, nope. Just says artifact of power. So they must be different, but that's the only clarification. So you could take Arcane Tome and that from the core book as well. Absolutely, yeah. So right. I think that's quite nice. Yeah, you can tool up a Kraken Eater with some cool artifacts. We've then also got, and this is quite nice. I like this. Extremely intimidating. Enemy units within 6 inches cannot receive rally or inspiring presence. So
they already can't get inspiring within 3 inches. So
correct.
This just basically pumps it out to the 6. I like that because it's quite common that you're going to see people pull casualties to get outside of the 3 so that at the start of the next hero phase they can rally.
Yeah.
Or pull outside the 3 so that they can inspire. So no, I really like that as a command trait.
That's really cool.
It's going to be really good.
Yeah, for me that's like the shining beacon of kind of Taker Tribe potentially, as the ability to just mess with your opponents and that, and it's also our first taste in this book of the old, can't use command abilities within range, which is kind of nice. So yeah, we then got a couple of artifacts. So we've got Walloping Tentacle. You've got a kind of a storied history with Wallopers. Oh, not Walloping, sorry, Wallopers. Is that
Wallopers.
Right, Nathan? Yeah. Latin for LRL. Yeah. So Kraken Eater only. So as we said, both these artifacts have to be Kraken Eater only. Start of the combat phase, you pick an enemy hero within 3 inches, and a 4-up, the hero suffers D3 mortal wounds and fights last. So another source of fight last.
It's the 4+.
You're going to say, so you're fine with a 3+. As soon as we go up to 4, you're like, pash.
It's an artifact.
It's an artifact. The thing I like about this is it's not once per game. So I know you can't do it multiple times the same combat phase, but you could get multiple shots at it. And I do hear that the old Tree Lords in Sylvaneth, their old Ground Shake and Stomp is pretty nice. The old 4-up to fight last, which I think they've now changed. I think they've now changed to 3-up because it's a Monsters Rampage, not just on the War Scroll now, I think. But yeah, so I just think it's kind of cute. It's all right. It could make Archaon fight last the 4-up. If you failed the 3-up for the beast grapple, you can try this out as well.
4-up.
Yeah, 3-up, 4-up, bit more reliable on the old dice. And then the last one, Glowy Lantern. This is one that we have seen before, but it has had a slight change. So it's not it's not just like a kind of an arcane tome now. It's the user can cast an endless spell. Like they are a wizard, so it's in the same manner as a wizard. They can summon an endless spell, and the range gets doubled for the endless spell, which is kind of nice. But I have put in here in brackets, goes wild. So because
unless they are a wizard.
Yes, so we do need a bit of clarification on this, because it does say summons an endless spell in the same manner as and then it's bold text, so the keyword wizard. So we just need a bit of clarification on is it then control of the endless spell, or does it go wild?
I'm pretty sure that it'll be treated as wild. So in your turn you can move it, but you could take very acquisitive Glowy Lantern and Arcane Tome. And then you would then be a wizard that could be in control of it.
Yep.
And also be able to cast another spell, I guess. Because
you could be a double caster. Be a double caster. One for just a normal spell, one for an endless spell. Doubles its range. So yeah, you could see some kind of combos there.
What is the range of the jaws? I'm pretty sure that the range is the wholly within 8. It's not the
the range is
random.
Yeah, that'd be hilarious. It's like what 66? Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's.
Yeah, I've got my GHP behind over there, but no, I think you're right. I think that the actual summoning, the old summoning part of it. Yeah, I think you're right. But yeah, there could be potentially some niche other kind of uses where you're like, doubling out an endless spell range could be quite nice. I mean, let's face it. I mean, we're not just thinking of Sun here.
I know that there's been some chatter about people asking whether or not your faction, if you're locked out of the faction endless spells. I'm pretty sure you are. I don't think it's.
Well, there's no. There's no wording.
Yeah,
there's no wording that says you can basically without limitation. So no, I don't think that. Yeah, so the endless spell, it gets summoned range of 8. So yeah, but yeah, range of 16 before it then pops off. Not bad. But yeah, so that's pretty cool. So what's our overall thoughts on Taker Tribe?
They seem okay. They seem a bit worse than they were before.
Yeah.
The fact that Glowy Lantern is not any spell now. It's now just you can cast an endless spell. Yeah. Good luck casting spells in this current iteration of the game.
It's kind of
But no, there's some alright stuff there. Extremely intimidating is the one thing that I've got my eye on as being like something that might see play.
Yeah, I agree. No, definitely.
And just like +5 on Mightier makes Rightier as well needs to be considered. Like your opponent's going to need to do a bit more mental gymnastics trying to figure out, well, how much damage do I need to do to have enough models on this?
Well, that's the thing as well, because the way that it's now working on the damage table, if you get a Kraken Eater down to its bottom bracket, it's still counting as 17 because it's 12 plus 5. So it's something. Yeah, absolutely. And obviously the Kraken Eaters with the ability to kick objectives still. Yeah, if there could be some, if there's any Taker stands out there who would definitely they're going to take Taker and think that it's maybe a bit stronger than what we think, then please let us know. So before we move on to what is it next, Breaker Tribe, we're going to have a wee look at chat. So Kevin Lowe, so on the Taker, he's saying that the additional damage from the command ability will be funny into the new Slaves to Darkness units with the artifact banners.
Fair enough, yeah.
Which is kind of cool, yeah. Liam T is saying you need to learn more than 4 unit names, bud. Ironclad, Arcanauts, Purple Sun, and Kronspine aren't the only units in the game. False.
Kronspine's unique.
I don't. That's very true. Kronspine is unique, and if they want to waste their damage into Kronspine, that's absolutely fine. Let's see. Kevin Lowe's saying 8 inches. Oh yes, that must just be for the clarification on the Ravanax. And he said Glowy Lantern would have been great if it was like Spell in the Bottle for 26-inch Warp Lightning. Yeah. But I think, you've raised a very good point, Nathan, as well. It's one of these things. It's an artifact that allows you to cast an endless spell, but you've not got any bonuses to cast, and no rerolls, nothing like that. So the chances of you getting out in this meta, are quite low. It's not like one of these artifacts where it's like auto-cast and end the spell can't be dispelled. One of those things, if it's something like that, you might be like, yep, cool, click the button on that. But it's dicey.
It's just to be good to give them the option to Flaming Weapon or Mystic Shield.
Yeah.
So we cast on a 4+, maybe they're not in range to unbind, or give one of your Gargants a +1 save.
Yeah.
But you need to get pretty close for most of the endless spells these days, so you're unlikely to be in a situation where you're going to be wanting to cast an endless spell and then not be in unbind range.
True. And I think maybe it could be a bit of a trap as well, because your Gargants, if you're then going down the path of let's make the Gargants casters that are kind of playing about with endless spells. It kind of maybe takes. Also, when you're building lists, good luck trying to squeeze an endless spell in. To be honest, as well, the points are pretty tight. With this, DW's definitely been using their calculators to put their calculators to good use with the points calculations. So anyway, let's move on. We're going to talk about Breaker Tribe. This is probably, I'd say, the favourite tribe from last book.
Yep.
Purely because of the kind of the offensive abilities you could get from it, and then also Gatebreakers was probably the best Gargant scroll we had access to as well. So let's see what's changed. So we've got for allegiance abilities, we've got breaking down the houses. So Man Crushers, they get +1 damage versus units wholly on terrain or in garrisons. So this isn't a command ability. This is just a straight up damage buff against any unit that's trying to get the benefit of cover or is in a garrison. Now we are seeing a lot more garrisonable pieces on the table. There's also quite a few of the faction terrain pieces that are garrisonable as well. So this could see some use. I do worry though, however, that as soon as your opponent knows they're against Breaker Tribe, nobody's going to be touching onto scenery. And then there's no +1 damage. But I suppose in a way, if you've managed to make
to the table, you need to avoid, right?
That's true. But if you have gotten into your opponent's head of well, that's fine, I've kind of in a way controlled them, because they're not going to want to go on this piece or garrison that, which would have been a benefit to them beforehand, things like that. So that's quite cool. As KO, I'm pretty terrified of this. It's like, not the bots.
I was going to say,
yeah, exactly. So no, that's pretty cool. We then got, as their command ability, we've got ramming
really
speed.
good.
Yeah, this is really good. So again, issued by General, has to be received by Man Crushers, but they get a 3d6 charge, and they can charge within 18 inches. Oh, baby! Now, considering that Man Crushers get running charge as well, they move... I want to check, because I thought it was all 10s. No, they do move 8. They're not as big as their big daddy, so you're right. But yeah, so 8.
3d6 charge. Ooh.
That's fast. So yeah, these boys can basically go out and touch wherever they fancy. So no, really nice. And if you've maybe got this in tandem with a general that can also run in charge, they're coming at you. So yeah, I really like this command ability. Very, very good. They've then got their Fierce Loathings. So again, similar to what they had last time, only applies to Gatebreakers and Man Crushers. So kind of going with the theme of only the actual Gargants, from the tribe get the benefits, and the babies. So we've got so you have to pick one of these. So you pick a Fierce Loathing. So you've got Bossy Boots and Clever Clogs. We also had this in the last book. +1 to hit versus Wizards and Heroes. We've got Idiots with Flags, +1 to Totems, or units with command models. So I think the Idiots with Flags probably was the one that saw the most. Am I right in saying you could pick 2 Fierce Loathings, or was it just the one in the last book?
There was a command trait that let you pick 2.
Well, luckily there's another command trait that lets you pick 2 again. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
We tended to see people move away from it in favour of the kind of more survival, and I think there was one that let you reroll saves of 1. And people used to pick that instead of the. I think there was a time where people just went straight to the pick 2.
Yeah, no, that's decent. So yeah, I think that could see play. There's a lot of units with command models, and there's also quite a few more totems in the game now as well. It's a keyword that seems to be cropping up quite a bit.
And units with command,
which is pretty cool. Yeah, and then we've got wannabes. So clearly a fan of Spice Girls. The +1 to hit versus monsters or war machines. So if you think you're going into the monster heavy meta, you could pick this one. But I definitely think, for me, it's between Idiots with Flags and Bossy Boots and Clever Clogs.
You used to see people taking that to begin with. There was Archeons flying about everywhere and stuff.
Oh god, yeah.
When it was the Tzeentch Archeon build at the start of the last GHB, when this book was in its ascendancy, or the last version of Gargants.
Yeah.
I think if you wanted to just pick one and take the 5 extra wounds, like I think a lot of people will, I think that you probably go for Idiots with Flags, right?
Yeah, I think
like
so.
the stuff that's going to be trying to take objectives off of you.
Correct. Yep. No, I guess anything that's a bit more general like that, I think that's definitely going to get the tick from me. Yep. Then we've got command traits. So we've got extremely bitter. Your general gets to, you can pick an additional fierce loathing. So perfect. But now it's just the general.
Yeah, so everything, like all the other gatebreakers and man crushers will just have the one that you've picked for your army, but the general get the extra one.
Yeah.
It's probably not worth it.
No, I wouldn't say so. And then C's red, you can fight on top profile if you're within 3 inches of a defensible terrain feature or an enemy unit that's wholly on terrain. Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. So just not great. It's just so, there's too many, like 3 inches of a defensible, could be quite tough. And then the enemy unit wholly on again. If the enemy unit sees if the opponent sees Breaker Tribe coming, I doubt they're going to want to be putting their stuff on scenery. So yeah, not very
You've
good.
activated my trap card. You've engaged and you brought me to 3 wounds when you're within 3 inches of a piece of defensible scenery. And I get to fight top bracket.
Congratulations, you played yourself. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, then we go into the artifacts. So we've got the Great Wrecker. I quite like this one actually. So Gatebreaker only, and 6s to hit with the flail cause D3 mortal wounds in addition. So the flail has changed. No, see, Nathan, you need to think outside the box, right? I also pigeon myself into the law of averages box, but you know fine well there are those games where you're rolling like on 6 attacks, you're rolling 3 6s, and that's a lot of extra damage that could potentially go through.
3 extra damage. Like I think see if it was the old Gatebreaker with 10 attacks, I would be all over this. Like I think that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I think when it goes down to is it flat 6 all the time? It doesn't degrade, does it? It's just
let me just check. My brain's telling me it's flat 6 all the time.
I think the damage starts at 4 and gets lower.
No, it does. It goes 6, 5, 4, 3. Yeah, no, okay.
Next.
Yeah, okay, I agree. but yeah, and then we've got the King's Slaughter Cowl. I'm guessing it's Slaughter, not King's Laughter. King's Slaughter Cowl, +1 to wound versus heroes. Meh.
Right.
I don't think you take up an artifact slot for that. I think you're still eyeing up the run and charge artifact straight off the bat. So yeah. Yeah, 6-up wards as well, absolutely. So that's Breaker. What do we think about Breaker Tribe?
So yeah, run and charge and 3d6 charge within 18 is incredibly good, especially because I keep seeing people talking about how much damage these man crushers are pumping out now. So yeah, I think that looks good, and the fierce loathings are quite good as well. Like if I don't know what the lists look like yet, but if you can build a Breaker Tribe with 2 breakers, a War Stomper, and a unit of 3 man crushers,
that would fit. Yeah,
probably decent. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I think it's okay. Still seems like the most killy one, right?
Yeah, I would say so. Just with the bonuses to offensive output, and as you rightly said, the run and charge on the man crushers is amazing. Sorry, not run and charge. Sorry, the 3d6 charge. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. So yeah, perfect. So that's Breaker. Moving on, Smasher Tribe. Now this is the one that I'm kind of. This is new. It's also the one that I'm kind of eyeing up as the one that I quite like. So this takes into our account our brand new Beast Smasher Gargant, which basically their shtick is they are quite good into monsters. Okay, so let's just go for it. I also quite like the new model as well. That the guy with the big kind of hammer thing is quite cool. So for them, they've got Bone Crushing Strikes. So this is for man crushers again. So they're getting a benefit to this. Their clubs get +1 attack. Sorry, not +1 attack. Sorry. So what they can do, instead of getting the number of attacks they get with their normal clubs, is they just go to 1 attack, but it's 4d6 damage versus a monster.
Is it 1 attack each? So like 3 attacks.
So in a mob, you've got a mob of 3. It's 3 attacks, 3s, -2, and then 4d6 damage. Yeah. Into a monster. Which, it's one of these things where it's like, if it pops off, like, oh baby! But it's not particularly reliable. So their massive clubs are usually 4 attacks, 3s, 3s, -1, 2 damage. So you're basically weighing up whether you think 12 attacks at 3s, 3s minus. Oh yeah, it's only Rend 1. Rend 1,
nah,
2 damage, or this. Yeah, so it's.
You probably just wouldn't use it. You would probably just take the chances with the weight of dice.
Yeah, I think that's probably what you do. But yeah, you might feel a bit lucky, feel a bit cocky, and go, no, I'm going to try and swing for the fences here against this monster. So that's pretty cool. We've then got now. What I will say though, Nathan, is there is a way to get access to additional rend table wide. I think. Because we're going to talk about King Broad, which I think one of his prayers could get additional rend. So I don't know if rend 2 swings it anymore for you, but still I think weight of dice probably wins out. But yeah, that's pretty cool. And then we've got don't let a few cuts stop you. So this is a command ability issued by General C by Man Crusher unit. You fight on top profile and fight on death if you haven't already fought. So this basically makes your Man Crushers fight on death.
But it doesn't basically make them fight on death. It makes them fight on death if they haven't already fought. I got excited there. You were edging me into that, and then
yeah, exactly.
And then I saw that.
Well, I knew you were getting excited. I knew you were getting excited anyway because you love talking about fight on death abilities, right? That's all the chat. That's all the chat has been for the for Sylvaneth FAQ and stuff like that. But I think I quite like this because it can mean that you're more glass hammer Man Crushers.
Yeah.
If they get hit into first, they're going to be getting out all their damage anyway because they're going to be on top profile and they're going to be fighting on death as well.
Unless they get reward or something that stops them receiving a command ability. But yeah.
Yes, you're right.
You're saying.
Yeah. Unless you get this, and this, but yeah. So there's that. You've got it in your top pocket for if you need it. We fight on death. But yeah, so that's the allegiance abilities for Smasher. We've then got command traits. We've got Seas Green. So we've had Seas Red. We've now got Seas Green. Once per battle, you can trigger a 4-up ward versus mortal wounds for a phase.
Amazing. This is actually really good.
Okay, talk to me, Nathan. Like, change my mind. I'm that guy at the booth with his cup of coffee saying, change my mind on this. Go for it.
So, like, when you've got a Gargant on an objective, people aren't going, I'm going to do 7 damage to you in the shooting phase. I'm going to do a wee bit of damage to you here. I'm going to do a wee bit of damage to you here. Like, they're gearing up for, here's my 4 Fulminators coming into you to take off this Mega Gargant. At least that's been my go-to. Like, I'm lining up the one thing that's going to just take it off. KO, line up all the guns, I'm going to shoot at the bits.
Can I just pause for a second?
What?
We do realise this is against mortal wounds only.
Oh, damn it. I got excited again.
I know, you'll get excited only, I know. Exactly, which is why I was like, change my mind, Nathan. Please let me know.
This is Scarbrand.
This is Scarbrand. Then it's the best artifact of the game. Yeah. No, look, I was the same, like, because I also, when I was reading through the book, I was like, oh, yes, 4-up war. Like, oh, mortal wounds only. Oh, okay.
There's been so much of this, by the way, right? There's actually going to be, see over the next 2 years, see if you're sitting there with a 5-up ward. It's not going to be a 5-up ward for much longer. It's going to be against mortals. Like, all of these abilities that are coming in, and we're seeing them more frequently on just normal units.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's sad.
This could be quite good, so... Let's look at some possible pros to this thing, right? Because I'm instantly just not liking it. But
cannons.
Into Lumineth with their, if they're bringing in hundreds of mortal wound shots from Sentinels that really want to get rid of a Gargant that's maybe right deep in their lines. Chuck this general forward with his running charge. And give him the 4-up ward command trait against mortals that you can pop for a phase. I don't know, give him an Amulet of Destiny as well for 6-up wards just against normal damage. Now I know you can't double dip on the mortals, but you've got a 4-up mortal save and you've also got a normal damage save as well. Maybe could be.
Sentinels is maybe the one thing in the game that's going to do that many mortals that's going to make more difference than 5 extra wounds.
Yeah, so I think it's a very niche kind of pro, but yeah, it was just I was quite excited about this until I was like, oh, Whirlwind's on
It would
there.
have, I was getting excited about it, thinking about how good it would be, but it wouldn't have been good for the game, let's be honest. Imagine a Mega Gargant sitting there
Yeah,
with a 4-up ward for one
just
phase.
for
Like,
an entire phase, yeah, yeah,
awful.
it could be pretty rough, yeah, absolutely. So seas green, probably not going to be seeing that. Marrow Drinker, so this is where when the general kills a monster, you roll a dice equal to the wound characteristic of the slain monster, and for every 5 up, you heal a wound to the general.
Cool.
Yeah, again, it was one of these ones I was like, okay, so most monsters in the game maybe sitting about 12, 14, 16, 18
Yeah.
wounds maybe. I mean, great into the mirror match. This general's got
Spike
some,
it, or get in the mirror match would be awesome.
this general's got if this general's been taking some damage and he goes in and kills another Mega Gargant, you know, 30 wounds, 35 wounds, 5 ups,
Okay.
heals. Yeah, but yeah, I think again it's
5 extra wins.
as you're
They
finding.
shouldn't have made the 5 wins. Like, that's the
Yeah.
problem with it. Like,
It's just too good, generally speaking, for then all these niche things that you're just going to probably fall back on.
it's just
Yeah,
because destruction pros can't really read.
yeah.
Okay, so they're not gonna do any sort of
Can I
risk
just
analysis into which if these is better. They just go, oh, 5 more wounds, make me bigger.
Can I just say, Nathan, that for people in glass houses, that's twice now you've not been able to read the PDF that I've sent you, right? You got so excited. You played, I forgot. Yeah, that one tournament you took Savage Oryx to, you're now Destruction, bro. Yeah, exactly.
I started off on Iron
started off now, doesn't it? OG. We've then got artifacts. We've got the Shatterer, which is just a cool thing to say. So again, Beast Smasher only. Any 6s to wound causes the enemy unit to ignore positive modifiers to the save until the end of the battle. What's your thoughts on this? Till the end of the battle.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. Now it is only when it swings in with its Men Here club.
And it only has 1 attack. It does only have 1 attack, doesn't it?
Well, no, it's got 3 attacks with the Men Here club. Yeah, 3 attacks.
More like the Shatterer.
loving top bands, yeah. So it's so like you have to hit with all 3 to then be what a 1 in 12 chance of getting this off. Yeah, it's not looking good. But again, it's one of these things. It's like but it's like Gargants are so swinging out, and you get a 6 through that unit for the entirety of the battle cannot get Mystic Shield, All Out Defense, Best Day Ever. So, or cover.
What I like about this is that it's exciting that a rule like that exists in the game, so that they can give it to something else later down the line in a good way. Like, I actually think that's a pretty cool rule.
Yeah, like, no, that's cool. That. Yeah, it kind of sets the precedence. They're like, right, we did it we did it not very great. Let's make it better. Yeah. Okay, that'd be quite good. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, sorry. So sorry. Yeah, and then Mantle of Tusks and Horns. So, oh god, copy and paste error. Not Kraken Eater only. It's Beast Smasher only. Once per battle at the start of the combat phase, all Sons of Behemat units get +1 to hit until the end of the phase. So it's just board wide. Basically gives you a little wah. Yeah.
It's alright. I like that.
Yeah, and it generally says the bearer can channel the wah. So
does it?
Yeah, so they're getting Gork and Mork on their side as well. Yeah, so kind of cool. You trigger at the start of the combat phase. Everything board wide gets +1 to hit.
There's a lot more hitting on 3s now for them, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So hitting on 2s for everything's pretty good.
Correct. Yeah.
That would have been almost amazing if it was old Gatebreakers that were hitting on 4s. They might still hit on 4s actually, Gatebreakers.
Yeah.
They changed them to 3s.
So let's check.
Spoiler alert.
So it's like did they? Yeah, because they've made things. No, still 4s. Sad
still
face.
okay though. They rescue without spending the all-out attack, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. So cool. What's your thoughts on Smasher Tribe?
Like, I think everybody's really excited because they're like, oh yeah, it's gonna be so good, the 4d6 that, because that is the kind of the Smasher War Scroll thing. So if you're wanting to take a Beast Smasher, you're probably looking at the Smasher tribe, right?
Yeah, I think yeah. So for me, when I was putting a list together, I was just kind of drawn to. I was like, I quite like the Beast Smasher. I think people are going to maybe be looking at either him or the Gatebreaker to be the kind of traditional damage dealing Gargant kind
Yeah,
of role. I mean, you've still got King Broad in there as well, and I think King Broad will be seen in quite a
I
few
think we'll see him
lists.
a lot. Yeah,
Um, and it's just a case, obviously, with points and stuff like that. King Broad and Beast Smasher go together exactly at 1100 points. You then got 900 left, which is just then very easily gets cut up either into two little Man Crusher mobs or a War Stomper and a Man Crusher mob. So you've got the kind of options
yeah.
there as well. But yeah, so I quite like Smasher. I like the fight on death of the Man Crushers purely because it means that worst case scenario, you're still going to get their damage output in combat. Somebody swings into them, kills them because maybe you've not got any screens, Nathan. There's no way
Yeah.
to really screen things out. You can't play that traditional thing where they have to interact with this unit first. They clear that, then you get the counter. Your stuff's just sitting, right? And there's a lot of things in the game now that can just move an insane amount of inches, charge a unit, kill it, and if they are deciding to do that against your Man Crushers, well, we've got to be surprised for you. They're going to fight on death. So,
Those things tend to be, just in my own experience, they
mhm,
tend to be monsters, and you're
mhm.
always going to be looking at a roar. Like I
Yeah,
think
no,
that
yeah, it's true.
it's a cool ability. But if I was weighing it up of like, do I want to have this one thing that can be stopped by roar? That if my plan isn't going to
Yeah,
plan, I can then pile in and fight with a unit of man crushers,
yes,
or do I
mhm,
want to be able to run and charge
yeah,
within 18 inches with 3d6? I'd probably look at the other
yes,
one, but
yeah, yeah.
I'm
No,
not
you're
saying
right.
it's not bad.
Mhm.
Just the way that I play the game, I would probably like the flexibility of the big run and charge.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Yeah. So let's go on to our last tribe,
Stomper.
the Stomper tribe. Okay, so
These
again,
always were the man crusher ones, so I'm actually quite excited to see
see what
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 this looks
happens.
like
Now
with loads of
again,
man crushers.
we'll make sure we read all the text fully before we get too excited, and we'll make sure. But yeah, you're right. Traditionally, this was the one where you took your man crushers, and it buffed them
Yeah,
more, and then you had more interactions. Things with like your big shouts, which were command abilities that you only got in Stomper Tribe to then give out to man crushers and make them better and stuff like that. So yeah, so let's go for it. So we've got big shouts again. This is slightly different though. So it's after the general issues a command to a man crusher unit, that unit can issue the same command to any other friendly man crushers without spending CP.
MSU man crushers.
So I knew you were going to say it, and this is exactly the first thing as well that kind of came into my head. I've been looking at a few different reviews, and people have already been talking out the you spam single man crusher, and then just you have your big war stomper general issues it to one, and then they issue it to that one, and then you can then get it triggering. Yeah.
It's just a big stabber army.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, that's the thing. It's one of these things. MSU could be a really great playstyle for Gargants because now you've not got this one big thing that you want to focus all your power projection into. You're gonna have to split it up into these little babies that points for points are actually quite efficient. So they're
They all count
10,
as 10.
10 on objectives.
Yeah.
Yep, they're not their standard monster of 5. 10 on objectives. They do can hit quite hard, and they are quite kind of not as defensible because they've got a 5-up save, but still it's a lot of wounds, a lot of board control potential, and as we say, we've now got this ability to yeah, just have your triggering things. So I'll just reread it again just to make sure. So people have been saying that you issue the one command from your general to one man crusher. That one man crusher then issues it to another one. How do we then get the multiple triggering off?
So you would need to issue it to one man crusher that's then in range of loads of other man crushers,
Mm-hmm.
and they can issue it to any of them. We already have this rule in the game with the Cronspine. So when the
Yes.
Kronspine receives all-out attack, everything wholly within its domination range gets issued all-out attack.
Yeah.
I
Because
think it's the same as that.
yeah, so I think the key thing here, because in my head I was like, but it can issue another command, but in my head I was like, but it's only issuing one command to one unit.
You
But
do
no,
the
but
6-inch run to one Man Crusher, and then it gets to give the same 6-inch run to every other Man
yeah,
Crusher
so
that's wholly within 12.
yeah, exactly. So because it says can issue the same command to any other friendly Man Crusher Gargants units without any further command points being spent. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
very cool.
the other thing that I'd heard talk of this was redeploy.
Yeah, redeploy, big one. This
So
kind of
you've got
similar
your
to what we see with Iron
yeah,
Jaws.
you've got your waves of Man Crushers up front. They make sure they're all wholly within 12 of that Man Crusher that's going to be given out the command ability, and you can redeploy. Now, obviously, it's still all you have to roll for each Man Crusher.
Each of them would need to be within 9 inches of a unit that just finished the move as well to be eligible.
Yes, to be
I
eligible
think, yeah.
also. Yeah, just because that stipulation is in there, right? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's true. But you could get multiple units just all redeploying away, and it
All back.
could really mess up opponents'
Or
charges. Yeah.
forward, and it's 10. Onto a different objective.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you've hit the nail on the head with the run with the is it forward unto
Or the
victory
next
or
thing
is
we're
that the
about
one?
to look at,
Yeah,
to grab the rocks.
they grab the rocks. Yeah. So, but I think if you've got access to run and charge on all baby gargants and you can give them all a 6-inch run and charge, that's pretty nuts. That's pretty nuts. So yeah, let's talk about the next one. Grab those rocks and chuck them. So we've got a command ability received by Man Crusher unit. Again, given it by general. Add 1 to the attacks for throw rocks. And I've kind of cut off at the end. It should be till the end of that phase. So let's go to the chuck rocks now. Before, chuck rocks was something that could.
All of them.
What's that? Sorry.
It was every tribe got throw the rocks, didn't it? It was
Yeah.
just in the general allegiance abilities, and it was a command ability you could give to Man Crushers.
Correct. So they didn't actually have like a missile profile on their war scroll. It was just they could do this. They could then do this thing which was in the book. Now all Man Crusher Gargants have a thrown rocks, which is an 18-inch range, 1 attack, 4s, 3s, minus 1d3 damage. But with this, then you would have 2 attacks per Man Crusher Gargant, 4s, 3s, minus 1d3 damage.
It's going to be a lot of. It's quite a lot of damage.
It's not nothing.
More shots.
It's not nothing. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, if you are playing that spam MSU Man Crusher build, which we could math out as well. So what we're talking. So if you take your War Stomper General, that's 450. You then
like 10 with 2 War Stompers, right?
Let's see, 1150. Do you think you want to take 2 War Stompers rather than just going
you could,
one?
In fact, no,
plus...
I think it would be 12, 3, 6, 9, and then you could probably get 1 extra, right? So 10 and 1 War Stomper would be all of the points, right?
Yes, 10 1 War Stomper. You still have some points left over, so then go for a Triumph or whatever. But yeah, so 10 babies, 10 individual babies plus War Stomper could be done, or obviously you can take the mobs instead.
Into threes to get
a
couple extra points to get an extra War Stomper.
Yeah, you don't get any discount now on going mobs. It's just every single baby you get is 150. So they've kind of changed that up. But yeah, I think that could be good if you're going. So what's that? 20 shots, 4s, 3s, minus 1. Mm-hmm. Yeah, with a decent look in at the and inspired. Yeah, I like that. So that's the grab the rocks and chuck them. We've then got getting stuck in. So this is our kind of recurrent theme, +1 damage for Man Crushers. But this is where if they only get it if they're targeting units with 10 to 19 models, they get +1 damage. If they're targeting units with 20 plus models, it's +2 damage to their Man Crusher, to their clubs, massive clubs, so that could get up to 4 damage base. Yeah. Now that sounds awesome, sounds amazing. Now the likelihood of being able to swing in 2 units that have 20 plus models is, I don't think that achievable. Even the 10 to 19 possibly not that achievable, because of the damage that the Man Crushers do on the charge itself, because you've got the mortal wound charges, which you're going to want to take advantage of. I don't think there's any way you forego their charge but immortal wounds to then give them extra damage. Could be wrong, but I wouldn't do that. They've also got the stuff them in my bags as well, so after they pile in they can then remove models. So you're just taking off models before they even swing, so the chances of this triggering get lower, you know, like, and the more Man Crushers you get into a unit, then the lower this goes down.
Move into like a horde meta or something. Like,
exactly.
Just hit the Zinch book. They're gonna love fighting horrors, right?
Oh, they're gonna, because they're gonna stay. If you've got a big unit of 30 pink horrors, they stay at 30 for quite some time.
They're dying pretty quick to Man Crushers, right?
100%. Like, you're just absolutely like,
when you stuff a pink in your bag as well, as somebody that's played pink horrors more than they should, they don't count as slain, or at least they never used to.
Yeah. So, yeah, you're right. Yeah, so let's see.
In fact, that was they did count as slain, so because they counted as slain, they weren't able to split and split again.
Yes, so stuff in my bag does say it is slain. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure that gets around split and split again. So you can stick a pink into your bag and it doesn't turn into blues and brims.
Because your wording of it is slain overrides the doesn't count as slain. Is that what we're saying?
Yes, correct.
Cool. Okay, perfect. Yeah. Cool. So it's something that's kind of, as we say, it's a lot of this book is like a situational. It depends, but could be good into those kind of matchups. I think maybe quite a bit of the time you're going to be getting the +1 damage. Again, it depends. You do see quite a lot of units that are 20 models. You get one mob in, they're doing 3d3 mortals. They might then stomp, maybe still keeping you at the 10 to 19 range, and then they get the 3 damage clubs. I don't see the +2 damage coming into much effect, as I say, unless you've got kind of quite niche. Unless like zombies come back, clan rats come back, you know, like as in big mobs of them, stabbers come back, you know, those things, we could see that definitely, yeah. But yeah, pretty cool. So then we've got command traits. We've got inescapable grip. You re-roll both dice rolls for the hurled body ability. Now, I'm going to have to talk about this. So hurled body is what the War Stomper can do. Yeah.
Scott played it wrong.
It's his shtick. Oh, he played it wrong? Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, because you roll above the wounds characteristic, or if you roll double the wounds you just pick a model and
so
roll above the wounds characteristic and it's slain. Then you roll a 4+.
Yeah. So no, he played it right.
No, because I think he just rolled the 4+. I watched it back and he rolled a bigger number for his first number.
So he rolled a 1 on the first dice, which was to pick the model up. Which was fine, because you do get bonuses on the hurled body, because you get +2. But it didn't trigger into the Thunderers, because I kept forgetting they were 2 wounds.
2 wounds, yeah.
But it would trigger into your little Arco, which did happen. Yep. But yeah, so hurled body, after you make a pile-in move, you pick an enemy model within 3 inches. You then roll a dice. If you at least you have to at least double or higher on that 1d6, their wounds characteristic. Yep. They're then slain. Now you do get pluses, so when it's on top bracket, it's +2 to the roll, so that can help. So top bracket, what are we saying? You roll a 6, +2 is 8. You could technically slay a model that's got a 4 wounds characteristic, if you roll a 6 on top bracket. You then kill that model, and then it's kind of like narratively, you're then throwing that unit, you throw in that model, so you pick an enemy unit within 12 inches, and on a 4-up, that unit suffers number of mortal wounds equal to the characteristic of the slain model. Whew. So a lot of text for a lot of the times, something that doesn't happen. But with this,
pretty cool re-roll though.
Yeah, but with this command trait, you can re-roll both dice. So you can re-roll the dice for seeing if you can actually slay the model, re-roll the dice for seeing if you can chuck it. So, meh. There is a battle tactic in the book, which is using the hurled body ability.
Next one.
So maybe we could make that more reliable. But I don't see anybody taking this as a command trait.
Unless it's just for funsies.
Yes, okay, Nathan, we're getting there.
We don't care about the hurled body.
We're getting there. Right, eager for the fight. The general can attempt to charge. Within 18 inches, and it can roll 3d6 as well. So there we go. That is pretty tasty.
MSU Megas, baby.
Yeah, so you've got, so let's get this right. You can get Man Crushers that can get run and charge. You can get your General that can attempt to charge within 18 inches and roll 3d6. You could possibly then also have an artifact on that General for run and charge as well. Or if you wanted to, you wanted to go the double War Stomper, one could be 3d6 charge, the other one could be run and charge. So yeah, this is really cool. Very, very cool.
I like it.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yep, I think again, this is Stomper Tribe is shaping up to. Can I change my mind? I think I want to go Stomper Tribe.
This seems quite techy. I quite like it.
Yeah, no, very techy,
like
and also spammy as well. Spammy as we love to see it. Then we've got some artifacts. We've got Club of the First Oak. So I remember this one, kind of nice. So you heal 1 wound in your hero phase for your War Stomper, and it can get a 5-up ward. Basically, once it's taken 25 wounds. Okay?
Is this the thing that Scott had?
This is the thing that Scott had that basically did nothing because he couldn't roll 5-ups to save himself. But for those last few wounds,
last 10 wounds.
Well, last 10,
or
but you're forgetting about the +5 wounds. Yeah, the +5 wounds. But yeah, so this says it gives you that lovely access to a 5-up ward against all damage. But yeah, very specific because it's only on, say, your last 10 or 15 wounds dependent. So yeah, and then we've got Mantle of the Destroyer. Friendly Sons of Behemat units within 12 inches have a bravery of 10. Cool.
Easier to get your heroic recovery.
I suppose, yeah. So you've got most of your megas are bravery 7, your babies are bravery 7, Beast Smasher's bravery 8, King Broad's bravery 9. So if you did take this, pretty much everyone in your army, all your people in your army would get pluses to their bravery. But I don't think it's worth an artifact slot. No.
Probably not.
No. So what's our thoughts on Stomper Tribe, Nathan?
Looks okay. The one worrying thing for me is that your little baby Gargants only have a 5-up ward.
Yeah.
A 5-up armor and 10 wins or something?
12 wins.
12 wins?
Not bad.
It's alright.
For 150 points?
It's gonna be a lot of wins, I guess.
Yeah.
I think a bit of mystical.
Yeah. You're really just hoping, I think, for the meat on the table. They can get the damage out. You can get your stuff up into your opponent's lines quickly.
In waves.
With the run, exactly, with the run and charge. Quite a good, could be a decent trading army. Yeah, you don't have to send a whole mob of Gargants or a 400 or 500 point model to take a thing. You send maybe 1 or 2 babies. They kill the thing off the point. They then die back. You just rinse and repeat. Keep doing that. So I think that's got play. So and I'd like to see it. If everyone's got access to 10 babies, and are getting on the table, that'd be great to see. So that's all the tribes. 4 of them. We've taken quite a bit of time to go through the tribes there. Let's move on and we'll talk about very quickly the grand strats and the battle tactics they have access to. So again, we've made it so it's only the ones that I think are decent that we'll see play I've put on. So for the grand strats we have Let the Land Tremble, which is you have to have a unit run or charge in every battle round. Which I think is quite good.
Rubbish.
Oh, why, Nathan?
So they used to have it, and you never could, because you would always end up with one Gargant at some point that was tagged in combat and couldn't run or charge.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because they've got no way to retreat and charge, and you can't run from a retreat.
Yes.
So I think that there was a lot of people experimented with it, and I don't think it's possible to score it unless you've tabled your opponent.
Oh yeah, that's true. So if table opponent, you could get it.
And even then, it's going to be hard because you need to not have that turn where everything's engaged.
Now, what about? We've just spoken about it. Baby spam. Baby spam.
But they're all going to die at some point.
Right. But baby spam, you've got one little baby who just sits back, sits way, way back, and their only job is to run every single battle round.
Like.
For 5 turns.
Yeah, you'll get your 3 points.
Yeah, but it's what have you given up in order to get the 3 points?
Yeah,
Could
like,
be
and
the worry.
also it's going to be just, well, you're running about doing this one thing to get your 3 points at the end of the game.
Yeah.
All it takes is for somebody to get a bit plucky and try and stop you doing it, and then
Mhm.
they do stop it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
No.
Like,
It's what I will say is I like it a lot less than the next one, and the other ones were I just think they were absolutely atrocious. So
yeah,
I wanted to put at least two in, but I think of the bunch, I think that was the second best. The one that I really like is on the warpath. So at the end of the game, every friendly unit has to be within enemy territory, not wholly within, just within.
just within.
And this
Yeah,
can
I
be
can
just
see
if you
that
have
being
one Gargant left and you can just tow it on enemy territory. A lot of these missions have got very, very forgivable territory sizes. I mean, the one I was playing yesterday with Scott was the entire half of the board. If you just put it touching in, you get it. And obviously the Gargant's still alive. I really quite like that one.
Yeah, I think that one's definitely achievable. If you've
Yeah.
got something left on the table, like the MO for Gargants always was holding on to your own objectives while
Yeah.
you got closer, and then you were in the opponent's territory and they ran away from you and got your objectives.
Yeah.
So you would be well posed to getting that.
Absolutely. So then we've got some battle tactics. So we've got three here that I think could be done. I'm not saying that they're amazing, but they could be done. And but obviously the Gargants have still got access to the main core battle tactics as well. So we've got Fury of the Titans. So you have to carry out the Beast Grapple, Earth Shaking Roar, and Colossal Slam Monstrous Rampage this turn.
So you don't need to successfully do it.
Correct. So it's only carry out, and as it states in the actual in the Monstrous Rampage bit, it says you can pick one of these to carry out, and it doesn't stipulate that you have to be successful. So what you could do here is if you're able to get 3 Gargants into one monster, and they just all do it, you get it. Or if you're into multiple monsters as well, it does make it that you have to be facing at least one monster in order to get this battle tactic. So that's a kind of an enemy list type
This was
thing.
the question I've seen people asking, because to smash to rubble, you don't need to have charged or anything. You just you can do it if you're next to a piece of defensible scenery.
Yep.
Do you have to be next to a monster to be able to select to carry this out? Like, obviously it just fails if there's no monster there, but
Well, let's check then. So
So there was a bit of chat about it. And
no, I think you're quite right. So it's kind of like almost like the Zinch thing of casting spells that aren't in range to get your fate points. You could just do this even though you can't elect. So let's have a look. See. So Beast Grapple is pick one enemy monster within 3 inches.
I could see people try to rules lawyer their way into being able to do it, but it certainly seems like
I feel like
intended.
As intended,
yeah.
I feel like as intended, you're going to have things. But I do get the fact because you've got there's the Dragon Ogre Shaggoth who's now got a Primordial Call thing, Monstrous Rampage. He's just sitting in the back. Out at the end of the charge phase, he's rolling the dice to get the points. So I could possibly see, as you saying, somebody rules lawyering their way into just saying, well, I'm carrying it out. I'm not successful, I can't do it, but I'm carrying it out. So yeah.
There's a way for you to do the earth shaking one
So
that you spoke about as well. That'll be one time that you do it.
Yeah, so Earth Shaking Roar again. So that's actually not into a monster. So you're gonna have to. I mean, you can still carry it out into a monster. Nothing will happen, but you can carry it out. And then Colossal Slam is pick one enemy monster that is not part of a unit. And then Earth Shaking Roar is pick one enemy unit. So it depends. Maybe just a wee bit of clarification on that would be good. I think you're right. My feeling is as intended. Surely not, but we'll see how that goes.
Your eyes peeled for that one.
Exactly. And then next one, I just love this one probably because of the name itself. Splat. You have to kill an enemy hero with throwing rocks, hurled debris, or hurled boulder. So throwing rocks is for the man crushers. Hurled debris, I believe, is that Kraken Eater? Yes,
sir.
And then your Gatebreaker is Hurled Boulder. So what's quite good is that you can get all of your units to shoot, and as long as it after in the entire shooting phase, if you've killed that hero, you get it. So it's not like it has to have been done by what, like an actual specific unit of yours.
And do it with that one.
Exactly. And if you are, so let's just talk about that man crusher spam I just spoke about. 20 shots, all going into the one hero. If it's like a little 4-wound support, a 4-5-wound support hero, I reckon that could be a very doable thing. And then the last one was Colossal Violence. So this is quite cool. You have to Titanic duel a monster and then kill it, which I like. So it's just a monster on monster violence. So yeah, those are the ones that I think are doable. That, as I said, I think there was in one there for if you hurl a body and stuff like that, and I'm like, oh god, it's like nothing that needs a 4-up, nothing that needs a dice roll, then another dice roll in order to actually go.
And something to be within 12 inches.
Yeah.
I suppose you could throw it at the same unit.
Throw it at the same unit, yeah, exactly. But yeah, we've then
cinematic.
It's very cinematic. We've then got battalions. So yeah, we get Bosses of the Stomp returns. You can put 2 to 4 megas in it. They can either be unified or magnificent. So you're either going to go for the extra artifacts, or you could go for a 1-drop with 4 megas, which we did see quite a bit of. I think probably the additional artifacts won out in the end a lot of the time. Just being able to tool up your gargants was quite good. So you could
see drops for a while.
Yeah. So you could go 4 megas and 3 artifacts with this, which is quite cool.
Yeah.
We've then got another one, Foot Sloggers, which I thought was quite cool. So you can get in this 2 to 3 man crusher units, so that does include mobs as well. And then 0 to 1 mega. You can also make it unified or make it swift, which is your once per battle, you get a free use of the 6-inch run or the reroll to charge. Which, yeah, if you're loading up on man crushers, maybe you want to do.
Just annoying because
possibly
the 2 to 3 man crusher units means that you would need to put them into groups of 3, and you would still have 200 points left over.
Exactly.
More stomper in, so you're going to be a 2-drop anyway.
Exactly, I know, which is annoying. But yeah, so that's the battalions, which is pretty cool. Because yeah, outside they don't really have. Oh no, because their stuff counts as like battle line and stuff like that, they could then still gain access to their, so things like battle rage and stuff like that. Can Gargant still do that?
Yeah, so this is something we've not really touched on. I'm pretty sure that man crushers can go on bounty hunters at the moment.
Yes.
So they do meet the troop slot for the other battalions, but Bosses of the Stomp.
Yes, you're right, because man crushers are not behemoths, so that's legit, that's fine. So they can go into bounty hunters. Yep, you're right, for the pluses to damage against galley vets. Your beastmat, all the other megas are all behemoths as well. So
Bob, how much damage would man crushers and the Stomper in bounty hunters do to a unit of 20 or more?
Flat 5.
Flat 5 damage.
Flat 5
horrors?
damage.
Take them off.
This is the Zeech counter, folks. This is the horror spams counter. You heard it here first. Yeah, so that's but yeah, so that's something to think about as well when you're building your lists. Have a double check of what battalions you can make use of. Yeah. So now I think we're going on to units now. Is that correct? Yes. Okay, perfect. So let's go through. So not many units. We've only got what, 4 new megas. King Broad, Kragnos, the Man Crushers, so 7 scrolls. Now I've kind of, rather than highlighting the changes for every single unit, I've had a quick look at all of the different units and I've gathered together just some general changes from the last book. So all megas now move 10. So before we used to have different moves, so the Gatebreaker was 12. Yeah, it was just like, so now everything's 10. I have no idea. What an odd number. What an odd number to have. But yeah, everything's 10 now. So there's no dubiety, everything's 10. They now have an improved damage table. So we're seeing this theme now. Monsters that are now in the kind of 3rd edition books, the damage tables were nuts. You'd have like 6 different profiles, right? Now it's just 4 different profiles and wounds suffered. so it's a bit more lenient to the monsters now as well. It's also not as severe as well, which is
So
quite
you need
good.
to almost take half your damage before you take your first bracket from most monsters now, right?
Correct, yeah. So you need to at least go half before you say maybe drop an attack or you drop move. So, and then also your mightier makes rightier, only really kind of drop significantly then as well. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Now our addition to all the megas and the man crushers. Nope, just the megas. Ooh, interesting. Megas now have terror. So they used to have terror, which was alright. Now it is awesome. So you cannot inspire in presence within 3 inches. Hello, Night Haunt Gargants.
Or rally?
No. Or rally? Nope. Just inspiring presence.
Or
but
rally.
are you talking about the general? Are you talking about the command trait, Nathan?
Yeah. No, I'm talking about the fact you can't rally within 3 inches of an enemy anyway.
Oh right. I see.
Yeah.
Such a troll. But yes, you're right. Yes, can't rally. Alright, but this is awesome. This is just such a cool inclusion. It's very thematic. It's on theme for them, and yeah, this is just it's great for Gargants. I think they're going to have a lot of fun.
I've been looking at corn lists with one eye.
Yes, you're saying old Grunnock here.
With the Horrorghast and Reapers of Vengeance is an extra D3 flea as well. So you've got the Horrorghast for it, you've got the Gargant to extend the range, and then whenever anything flees, it's like 2d3 extra models that run away.
That's pretty nuts, yeah. So no, I love that addition. Longshanks has now changed. You now only ignore terrain if it's 4 inches or less. So when it makes a normal move, runs or retreats, it can pass across other models that are not monsters and parts of terrain features that are less than 4 inches tall in the same manner as a unit that can fly. Now, 4 inches isn't that tall. So it means that you maybe are going to be getting blocked in a bit more with terrain.
So general Games Workshop terrain that has a second floor on it, that second floor is normally 3 inches high.
Okay.
So if you think about any of those sorts of ruined buildings and stuff like that, they're all going to be more than 4 inches. Yeah. So like I can maybe even quickly grab. So like this, that floor is 3 inches high. Yeah. So it won't be able to move over that.
Yeah. So this could be pretty big. And especially you're going to tournaments, and people aren't using GW terrain as well. They're using loads. I mean, I remember at Broken Realms there were some massive pieces of terrain, and there's some really tall stuff that we see now as well, which is great for the table. It looks awesome, but it's going to be blocking in Gargants now. Yep. So it's definitely something to remember and be mindful of. So yeah. The other thing that's changed is Death Grip. So for all the Mega Gargants, so Death Grip, it's a kind of it's a type of attack that they get.
One attack, 6 damage.
Yep, so it's 2d6 for damage versus monsters, and you can pick either result. It used to be either a +1 to hit against monsters or something like that. Now it's the damage.
Used to reroll 1s to hit.
Reroll 1s to hit. Got you.
Because the jump up and down was reroll 1s to anything that wasn't a monster, and then the grip was reroll 1s to hit. Against the monster. Yeah, so GW doing their finest to remove rerolls from the game. I think they still left jump up and down rerolls on the War Stomper. Or is it +1 to hit now?
Yeah, so that's now changed as well. Yep, so jump up and down. So for their almighty jump, it's a +1 to hit, not reroll 1s to hit. Yeah, so that's the next bullet point there. Yep, so the almighty stomp or almighty or almighty jump.
One eye is still reroll hit rolls of 1. For jump up and down attacks, unless your target is a monster.
He won't be. Is that specifically on his? I mean, unless they've not been updated, because he is just a War Stomper scroll.
I thought they had been updated.
Nah, so he's just a War Stomper scroll, and in this book, Almighty Jump is add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made. With against an enemy unit with a wounds characteristic of 3 or less. Yeah.
I'll need to remember that for my game then, because they've updated the War Stomper on the app, but they've not updated One Eye.
Yeah.
In fact, actually, I thought he had Terror. I'm just gonna check that again.
No worries.
One Eye.
At least I can blame you for
error.
how long the stream is now, because you keep wanting to
Right,
check on
so
Old
yeah,
Grunner or One Eye.
on the app, One
Yep.
Eye has enemy units cannot receive inspiring presence while they're within 3 inches of friendly units with this ability. So yeah.
Okay.
I take it the mercenary scrolls are not in. So that must be an app error.
I would say it's an app error. That's just an
Yeah.
old somebody forgot to delete or change the
It's
thing.
because I've
Which
not
is
seen the book.
yeah, no, it's just fine. And then the last wee kind of mega wide change is Death Grip, which is now changed from -3 rend to -2 rend.
Yep.
Yep. So there we go. So yeah, just some kind of I guess just quality of life changes for all the Gargants. We're removing a wee bit of the rerolls, and yeah, that's pretty much us. So what have we got? So we've got Liam T. So what you're saying is, if I make a board out of the new Warcry terrain with the rope bridges, Gargants just can't move. And yes, that is correct. Yes, that's absolutely correct.
So the secret tech is that all scenery needs to be 6 inches apart from other scenery, so a Gargant base can fit through it.
Yeah.
But faction scenery, most of it is that it needs
Just
to be
3
inches. So you can just plug that gap with a bit of faction scenery, and it's just a
And
massive
just be like,
wall.
yeah, no,
Just
no, 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 no.
giving
Yeah.
them the finger. Yeah.
Never gonna get you. Yeah, and then yeah, because scenery from edge of board is 3 inches as well, right?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Just stand there and shoot them.
Just make an immovable wall. Perfect. So yeah, so that's the changes. We'll then go on and we'll talk about the individual units. So we have Kragnos, the End of Empires.
So he's not changed.
Basically, yeah, unchanged, exact same, exactly the same. His newly updated War Scroll that came out a wee while ago, the one that's on the app is absolutely the same. So I've just put in here, he's the same high save combat monster. He's got his 3d6 charge bubble, so he does help out the Suns now. Probably not as much as he used to now, because we now have access to so much 3d6 charge, 18-inch range charge, running charge, so you maybe don't have to put him in to get that now. But yeah, he's also got the best Mightier makes Rightier table as well. He starts at 30, and the minimum he can get down to is 18. So that's him. 18 wounds, bravery 10, 2 up save, same flat 4 damage in his mace, same damage dealer for him. Then we get on to one of the new boys, King Broad. 580 points for this boy. He is a War Master. He's got some quite unique little kind of abilities, which I found to be quite cool yesterday. So when I was playing Scott yesterday with the Cron Spine, he was using Creepers to good effect. So the Creepers is quite interesting. So it says in each charge phase, the first time an enemy monster within 3 inches of this unit is picked to carry out a monstrous rampage, you roll a dice. If the roll is equal to or greater than the Creeper's value shown in the unit's damage table, that monster cannot carry out a monstrous rampage in that phase. Now, Creeper starts on a 2-up, so quite reliable. So basically, first time a monster would try and rampage you, just 2-up, nah, can't do it. So, kind of cool. I quite like that. He's also a priest, and he can chant his very own kind of thing. Because he's unique, he won't be able to take from the prayer scripture from the core book, right? Am I right in saying that?
Correct. Yeah, you won't be able to take any of the generic ones because they don't have prayer scriptures in their book, do they?
No, it's just his War Scroll. Yeah, exactly. So, but it's pretty cool prayers, to be fair. So he's got Power of Behemat. So he will roll it. So it's a 3. So you need to roll a 3+. He can get pluses to it because if he kills any monsters in the battle, he gets +1 to the chant. That's quite cool. So you can get it on a 2. And then, yeah, basically you roll the dice to see if you chant it, then you pick what ability you want to use. So there's 3 abilities you can choose from. So you've got Shatter the Mountains, where you add 2 inches to the move characteristic of all friendly Sons of Behemat models table wide, which is kind of nice. Plus 2 inches is pretty cool. So you get 12 inches on your megas, 10 inches on your babies. He's also got Might of the Earth, which is you heal up to D3 wounds allocated to each friendly Son of Behemat unit. So again, also board wide. And then he's got Pummel All to Dust, which is awesome. You improve the Ren characteristic of the following melee weapons used by the friendly Sons of Behemat units by 1. So you improve Ren by 1. So it's for basically all the main weapons of your Gargants. So you've got the Obelisk of Torcrania, which is King Broad's main weapon of choice, the Menhir Club, which is the Smasher, Shipwrecker War Club for the Kraken Eater, Titanic Boulder Club for the War Stomper, Fort Crusher Flail for the Gatebreaker, and Massive Club for the babies. So getting board wide +1 rend adds it pretty nice. So yeah, he's also, I've just put in there as well, he's got flat 5 damage weapon, so he gets 4 attacks with the Obelisk, 3s, -2, flat 5 damage, which obviously he could get up to -3 if he gets the chant off. I quite like the scroll, I like him, I think he'll be seen in quite a few lists. What's your thoughts on Broad?
Yeah, I think you'll see him. And the fact he's a priest as well, he can get rid of some of the annoying invocations and
That's
stuff as well.
very true. So invocations and priest can dispel end the spells as well, correct?
No, not unless it says so in their war scroll.
Oh, interesting. See, I thought
Most of
they
them
could
are
now.
like anti-magic.
Okay. And then if you're next to mystical, you get a wee cheeky +1 to chance as well, is that right?
+1 to chant on mystical as well as
Lovely.
the ward. People often forget about it because not many armies have priests. But...
Yes, no, that's true. Yeah, getting the 6-up ward can be quite key, especially when you've got that many wounds on your Gargants. That could be pretty clutch. I'm just double checking the old priest thing. So priests, can chant prayers, prayers. So priests can chant, they suffer from divine wrath, invocations, they can banish invocations. Yeah, so nothing about dispelling endless spells, right? Okay, that's
because
just,
they're not a wizard,
that's
you
my
can
bad.
pick them to do the extra unbind. But I
Hold
think
on, dispelling endless spells. One endless at the start of the hero phase, each player can attempt to dispel one endless spell with each friendly wizard and friendly priest.
So it doesn't stack with slaughter priests though. So slaughter priests can get rid of it. And I think the FAQ did that if you can already unbind an endless spell, then you can't be picked to take the extra unbind. You know, the heroic action.
Oh, really?
Because I think a lot of people
interesting.
Yeah.
That's
There's something in the FAQ about it. I've only skimmed it. But...
Okay, well maybe not too big because again you've got probably maybe another mega that's a hero that can do it as well. But no, he's good. He's got a bit of tech. So yeah, I think King Broad will be seen in a good number of lists. I think for what you get for the points, it's pretty good. So yeah, let's move on to Beast Smasher. So again, another cool new boy. He is it's quite interesting. So again, it's one of these ones where you can forgo the normal attack sequence for his Menhir Club to get a single attack, but it's 5d6 damage versus a monster. And the Menhir Club is 3s, 2s, -3 rend, because that does degrade. Interesting that the rend degrades, which is kind of cool. And it would normally be flat 5 damage. So you can either go for a maximum damage output of 15, or you can swing for the fences and try and get 5d6 damage into a monster, which you could get on a 2s -3 rend. Which is if you just don't roll a single one in those things, but we all know single damage attacks.
Bagnos is shiting himself as 2+ save.
Hey, he goes to 5-up. Goes to 5, not bad.
Minus their all-out defense.
Oh god, yeah. Anywho, he can also carry out 2 different monstrous rampages versus a monster. So kind of cute.
That's pretty cool.
He can carry out 2 of them, which is cool. And again, yeah, I've just wrote on there, he's a flat 5 damage weapon. So yeah, I quite like
he
the
knows
beast.
Jiu-Jitsu. He can suplex them and hold them.
Correct. It's just like, oh yeah. So yeah, he can. I quite like him as a damage dealer. Again, I kind of said at the start of the talk. I think people might look to either him or the Gatebreaker to be that traditional damage dealer scroll. To fill that role, and as I say, he does slot in quite nicely. So does the Gatebreaker, because they're both 520. They slot in really nicely with the King Broad's points of 580. So yeah, quite like the Beast Smasher. What's your thoughts on him?
Cool.
Yeah, not bad. We are then going to go into What have we got next?
Warstomper.
Warstomper. So Warstomper.
Unchanged except that rule we've already spoke about.
Correct. Unchanged except the hurled body. So you get what you get. 450 for him. Cheapest mega you can get. And yeah, has to be the general in a Stomper tribe. So if we're thinking we're maybe going to see that with the baby spam, then you'll probably see him on the tables. He does also just fit in really nicely with your list builds as well. So if you go broad plus a gatebreaker or broad plus a beast smasher, you've got 900 points left over. Well, you can take 2 war stompers, or you can take a 1 stopper and a little mob of babies as well. Yeah, exactly. So yep, we've then got the Kraken Eater. 490 points for this boy. Again, I've said unchanged, except he's got 4 attacks with the Shipwrecker War Club at 4 damage, which is not bad. He was never really a damage dealer back in the old book.
Yeah.
But he is 3s, -2 rend, 4 damage, and 4 attacks on them, so not bad. Still got his get off me land, his kicking objectives thing. And he's got everything else that Megas have as well. So yeah. And he stuff him in my net. That's unchanged as well. After the pile-in move, D3 enemy models just go whoop straight into his bag. So pretty sweet. And that's just it. Yeah, you had the roll is at least double the model's wounds characteristic. It is slain. So yeah,
so
it's on the dice roll.
Then you roll for each of them. Yeah.
Yeah. So pretty cool.
It's okay.
Not bad. Again, it's one of these ones where the 490 points, it means he doesn't slide in quite as nicely. I don't think you're particularly going to have people taking him over a Gatebreaker or a Beast Smasher to then save you 30 points and then get you a Triumph or whatever. But I don't know. Maybe if people want to run the Taker Tribe. Yeah, people want to take Taker Tribe, or they want to take one of these guys for the trolling of being able to move objectives. That could be useful.
I think then you need 30 points less so that you can take 2 of them, be 60 points under, and get an endless spell. Because otherwise, you're kind of filling up your points, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. No, 100%. Then we've got the Gatebreaker. Now, there's quite a lot of text with this boy, because I've noticed that he's got a bit of change on his scroll. So I've said they're unchanged, except Pulverizing Strike, which is brand new. Instead of attacking normally with, I think is it just with the flail or just attacking normally?
Instead of attacking normally.
So you forgo
be a case of no balls if you're not going to do this.
You forgo every single attack profile on this boy to roll 1 dice, and if you get that sweet 4 up, it's 4d6 mortals. Now, obviously, on top or mid profile, this just does not look appealing at all, because you're like, what, I'm going to, for 1 dice roll on a 50-50? But I think that if this guy's on a few boons left, and then he's only going to have, 3 flail attacks, I think you could click the button on this and just go, yep, roll that 4 up and just delete a unit and roll hot for the mortals.
Like if you've not got access to any buffs, you need to roll 4 ups to hit any, then you need to roll 3 ups.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
I could see it. Like, especially if you're fighting against something like, I don't know, Vanguard, Chaos Warriors, like something that you're probably not going to do much damage to anyway.
Yeah, it gives you that mortal wound access.
It's a 4+.
Yeah, it's a 4+.
Makes the game faster as well.
Yeah, exactly. But it does give you that mortal wound access. It's something that Suns are lacking. They don't have much mortal wound output.
Just the charges.
At all, apart from the charges, yeah.
And the artifact.
What did you call it? The Shartener? Whatever it was called.
That was the armor reduction one, wasn't it?
That was right, yeah.
There was one Gatebreakers could get.
Oh, it was like the Wrecker or something.
It was D3 mortals, yeah.
Yeah, so you're going to get, exactly. But no, good. We've then got so the Smashdown rule now as you get +1 to the dice roll for the Smash to Rubble Rampage. Then you roll a dice for each enemy unit within 3 inches of that terrain piece, and on a 2-up they suffer D3 mortal wounds. So I think that's quite nice. Yeah. I suppose there's quite a few. They're going to have at least 8 terrain pieces, right, on the table.
You can only smash the rubble defensible or faction scenery, can you? Defensible or garrisonable.
So let me take that back. So you may you're seeing now on most tables as a standard 2 defensible, right?
Yeah.
So you've got those as options, and then you've got the diffraction terrain pieces there in there as well potentially.
Yeah.
So
I think when you defensible, you set up wholly within 6, so you could, or just within 6, you could set up outside of 3 and not take the mortals.
Yeah. Again, if it's Gatebreaker, and if you're maybe seeing this in a Breaker tribe, people are going to not want to go around sitting next to onto scenery anyway, so might not get much use.
You don't want to smash the rubble either, do you? Because if they're in it, you want the bonus damage for them.
That's true, yeah, because they have to get out. Yeah.
If you smash it to get out, then you can't reach them.
Yeah. So again, it's one of these things. It's a change, but I don't know how game changing it's going to be. And yeah, so I've just put in there at the end. He's now not got 10 attacks. It is 6 attacks, but his damage has gone up by 1. So rather than having 10 attacks, 4s, 3s, minus 3 damage, it's now 6 attacks, 4s, 3s, minus 3 4 damage. So we're getting less attacks now, but more damage. So we're hoping it kind of evens out.
It won't.
But yeah. yeah, it won't. So that's Gatebreaker for you. 520, same as a Beast Smasher, and again slots in quite nicely with Broad. And then the last, well, I say last, we're going to talk about the Mercenaries as well. Man Crushers, they are 150 points each. You can take a single, or you take a mob of 3. As I've already said, they do not get a points decrease if you do go mob. But if you do go mob, they now get a unit champion. He's called a Bull Stomper, which is cool. Only the Bull Stomper, which I'm just going to double check. Only the Bull Stomper in the mob unit can carry out a monstrous rampage. So you're not going to get 3 monstrous rampages out of a unit of 3. They've got their same, so it's Keep Up. So Keep Up is the run and charge one, so if they're in range of a mega, they can run and charge. It used to be, I think, wholly within 12. Now, no, sorry, it used to be within 12. Now it's wholly within 15. So, so we need to make sure you're staying within that bubble to get the run and charge. Okay. They've also got Ooze under the heel now as a rule. So if they carry out the Stomp action, Stomp Monstrous Rampage with the champion, they get pluses to the number of mortal wounds that's caused for each other Man Crusher. So you could get a maximum of 5 with a Stomp, because it's obviously the D3 plus 2 from the unit as well, which is not bad. With a 2-up, you could cause 5 mortal wounds, which is nice. And then they've now got 4 attacks with the clubs, because it used to be 10, right? It used to be 10 attacks, but they were 1 damage. Now it's 4 attacks at 2 damage, so statistically worse.
I can't even remember what the profile was. I never saw them. Nobody
so
used to play with them.
I think their old clubs used to be 10 attacks, 3s, 3s, minus 1, 1 damage. Now it's 4 attacks, 3s, 3s, minus 1, 2 damage. Sure. But with access to more pluses to damage now.
They've got other attacks as well.
So that's the thing. Like, a lot of people think they look at the clubs and they just go, so that's the damage output. But no, because if you've got a mob of these, they're still going to have 3 attacks with the headbutts, which is 4s, 3s, minus 3, 4 damage apiece. And then the mighty kicks is, again, from a mob, 3 attacks, 3s, 3s, minus 2, d3 damage. They're also going to be doing the mortals when they charge in. They're also going to be doing stuff them in the bag as well. So against your kind of single wound models, or maybe your single to 2 wound models, these guys are going to be doing a respectable amount of damage.
They're all right, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's kind of us. So, any thoughts on all those units there? What are the units that are jumping out as you as what you think we'll see play?
I think mostly the Gatebreaker and the Man Crushers. Okay. So it's going to be either your kind of standard mega build, maybe taking 1 unit of Man Crushers, or the War Stomper and all the Man Crushers. Yeah. That's the 2 kind of builds I'm liking the look of.
Yeah, because I do.
King Broad does look good though.
Yeah, I like King Broad. It's nice. It is expensive, 580. But yeah, and also the thing with him is he does start on 40 wounds, I believe.
40 wounds,
yeah. So he's already got that baked in +5, which is kind of nice. Yeah, so I think there's a kind of lots of different trains of thoughts. I think people have been quite hot on man crushers, but I also have heard lots of cries of they're a trap because they're so killable because they're only got a 5-up base save. So I think most lists, I think you're right, will probably see at least one squad of 3 potentially to fill in that last 450. Some people might want to take them in singles maybe, but I think you do get a bit more out of them if from the mob because you're getting one unit swinging as a whole rather than 3 individuals as well. So no, I think that's quite cool.
To do damage, you want the mob of 3. If you're taking them to be backfield objective holders or scramblers to try and get into the enemy territory, then 3 single ones would be good.
Yeah, that makes sense. Cool. So that's the units, folks. Now, just very quickly, it's not going to take much time because we've already kind of done the units. It's just to get one little additional bonus. Mercenaries. So we've seen this for a while, that you can, in your armies, you can take one type of Mega Gargant. That's your kind of mercenary. It costs you a CP, and then you get the access to the Mega Gargant. They've now removed the CP cost, so it doesn't cost you anything anymore, which is kind of cool. And yeah, we've got an additional mercenaries to choose from, and I don't think the abilities have changed much, but we'll go through them. So the new guy we've got, and there's also quite an unfortunate name, Odo God Swallow.
Is it God Swallow or God Swallow?
I think I'm going to stick with God Swallow. So 520 points. So he's a beast smasher, right? So he's a beast smasher. He can only be taken as a merc in destruction armies, and he gets just a flat +1 to hit versus monsters. So can be your dedicated anti-monster tech for a destruction army. Quite cool. He's already very good into monsters anyway, so now this just gives him extra benefit. You've got your classic Bundo Whalebiter. JP, shout out to JP here. He's the only person I've ever met in my life who's taken Bundo in his Gits army. So this is Kraken Eater. It can be either in destruction or order. He's got dead cunning for a Gargant. He can give himself fight last, but then he gets +1 to hit and wound now until the end of that phase.
Alright.
Shrug. Yeah, so very much.
All of these abilities are a bit of a...
All of these are meh. We've got Big Drug Fort Kicker. So 520 points. He has to be in destruction or death, so he's a gatebreaker. And his halitosis is totally unchanged, which I believe is you pick a unit within 3 inches. I think it triggers in the combat phase, and you roll a dice for every model in the unit, and a 6-up they take a mortal wound. So kind of a horde tickler. And then One-Eyed Grunnock, which is the one that we spent so long talking about, Nathan, Jesus. 450 points. He's a War Stomper. He's Destruction or Chaos, and he's got Shake the Earth. So it's changed now, so it only gets the -1 to hit ability. Before there was 2 kickers in there, I think. There was a -1 to hit and there was something else. Now it's just when he does his jump up and down, so he has to have piloted and fought, he then becomes -1 to hit in return. But yeah, cheapest mega.
Was it not everything within 6 inches was -1 to hit, or is that changed now?
Let's check that. So luckily I've got him right here. It is still 6 inches, yeah. So subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks made by enemy units within 6 inches of this unit if this unit made any jump up and down attacks earlier in the same phase.
So it can protect your other stuff a wee
bit
as well.
Exactly. Gives out that wee bubble of -1 to hit, which is quite nice. So yeah, you're quite right. It's not just into him, it's into your other stuff too, which is cool. Nice big base to get that bubble as well, so not bad. And your cheapest Gargant, so cheapest access to the mercenary stuff as well. So cool.
Cheaper than an Incarnate now.
Indeed. Better than Incarnate? Don't think so. So, last but not least, we are almost there. We're just going to have a wee chat over one list so that I'd kind of very quickly made up. As I said at the start, I was looking to take into the Smasher tribe. So I have crowned this list it's called 100% Wood Smash. And so we've gone Smasher tribe for this one. which gives me access to fight on death with the Man Crushers, or they can forgo their swings for the single swing 4d6 damage into monsters. We went for Grand Strat on the Warpath, so that's where I just have to have friendly units at the end of the game within territory, which I think is a decent Grand Strat for them. And then yes, we went for King Broad because I do quite like King Broad. I like the fact that he's a priest. He's 40 wounds. He can do the business in combat, and yeah, his chant abilities are quite strong. The one thing that I didn't mention with his chants is once you've chosen that effect, that's it for the game. You cannot spend that effect again. So he's only going to get the 3 chants, and as we say, because he's not got access to any other prayers from the prayer scriptures, it's just those 3 things. So if he's alive for 3 turns, he gets those 3 things, and jobs are good. I can definitely see plays where you do the +2 move, probably turn 1, to get stuff up the board potentially. Then I could see probably the rend because you're going to be getting stuck in, and then you maybe do the heal to try and heal back up stuff that's taken some damage. So you've got that option there. We've then went for a beast smasher because you need to have one if you're going to smash a tribe to be a general. So we went for monstrously tough on him, so he's 40 wounds as well, and the amber bone totem, so he can run and charge, which is nice. We've then gone for, so because that's now 1100 points, I've got 900 to play with, so that's quite easily a War Stomper. He's going to be rocking the classic combo of Arcane Tome and Flaming Weapon, which you love to see. Gets his club up to 3 damage if he can get it off. And then we've gone for the last 450 points. We've got a Man Crusher mob to fill up that slot. So it's exactly 2k in the nose, hence why there's no triumph. And we went for a Bosses of the Stomp to get me an additional artifact. And that's the list. It's so fun and easy writing Sun's lists, just because there's
just like Knights.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just like that. I mean, it's just so much easier than Knights. Like they don't have to worry about so many
weapons,
relics and weapons, all that kind of stuff. It's just you're done. But no, quite like that list. But I've also liked the list that we've kind of discussed as well. With regards to, so I do agree that I think the Breaker tribe will see play, because they do look like they are just the kind of standard more damage dealing with the insane threat range of the Man Crushers as well. And I do think we will see Stomper maybe going baby heavy, or MSU babies maybe. We'll have to see how that shakes out with the meta, because we've been saying a few times now that babies die very easily. So we need to see how that shakes out. But yeah, so what's your thoughts on the list, Nathan? What would you change?
Probably just the smasher to breaker.
To a breaker, just like he's a better damage dealer role.
Yeah, like the beast smasher does really cool things, but I think that just the breaker, the abilities in breaker as well. Probably better for the Man Crusher mob, but we've already spoke about that.
Yeah,
I still think King Broad's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, he's quite cool. Yeah, I quite like him. So yeah, and that's a very easy swap. You just swap to Breaker Tribe, take the Beast Smasher out, put the Gatebreaker in, give them the same stuff.
It's great how Games Workshop has done that, isn't it? They've allowed you to spend another £100 in the Mega Gargant if you want to try out this other Mega Gargant. It's great.
Exactly, it's amazing. But yeah, I can definitely see. I think a lot of people maybe will running conversions, or maybe just saying that this guy's King Broad because I've put a special crown on him or something like that. You know, the one that Scott was running yesterday. I think that's a great model for King Broad with the big massive Stonehorn kind of mask.
I don't think there's going to be many people want to have 6 Mega Gargants when they can only ever play.
Yeah, exactly. No, absolutely not. But yeah, no. So that's us, mate. We've done it. How did that take the same length of time as the Lumineth review?
I was sitting here thinking, I was like, I thought this was going to be an hour, but you just sat and read the whole book again. So.
Well, I just feel like it's the 4 tribes, mate. You have to give each tribe its dues. You have to.
I know. We spend all this time talking about Smasher Tribe. We've just got to the end. We've listed your Smasher Tribe list, and then we've just discussed how it's pitched.
We just went.
It'd be better.
We should go breaker. Yeah, just hashtag just go breaker. But yeah, so that's the book. I think it's going to be fun to play, to play against possibly, funner maybe because as all the things we've discussed, it's a bit more interactive now.
Lots of people hated playing against them because they just thought it was boring.
Yeah,
but I don't. Yeah. I think that there's a lot more chance for it to not be boring now.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, no, it's always good. We don't want boring games, no. So that takes us to the end, mate. So thank you very much for your time yet again. And again, thanks to you guys for watching as well. If you're still with us, thank you so much. Huge thanks to our sponsors up in Aberdeen, Riath, tabletopminis.co.uk, and also thanks to our growing list of patrons. We have an additional patron tonight to thank, Mr. Scott Smith. He came over yesterday, paid a wee visit to the garrison, and he's signed up to the old Patreon. So thank you very much for that. He smashed them and
then he gave you money. Classic Scott.
It's the perfect. It's perfect. He's just such a gent. He's just one of the nicest guys ever. So yeah, came over. And we say some. Well, no spoilers. No spoilers. We KO'd and Kronspined him, and then he's donated. So thank you so much for that. It really helps me out. Helps the channel out as well. And yeah, that's us, mate. So before we sign off, anything else to say to these fine folks?
No. Everybody go and buy more Gargants.
Go and buy more big
from Tabletop Minis.
Big dumb Gargants. Yes, definitely get it from Tabletop Minis. Help out our bro Riath. And yeah, so thank you very much yet again, and hopefully tune in next time. We've got so on Thursday, Nathan, we're going to be going over the new Battle Scroll.
Yep. I'm going to limit you to picking 2 things from the entire Battle Scroll.
The entire Battle Scroll? Aww. Yep. Okay, that's fine. But yeah,
6 slides.
We're going to be going over the changes, how we think is maybe going to affect the meta. So please tune in for that. That'll be a good one. And yeah, so we're going to sign off now and say bye-bye, and we'll roll the end credits. Thank you very much, folks. See you later. Bye. And thanks, Nathan. Bye-bye. See you later.
Bye-bye-bye.